What is up, everybody? This is Church of Caboose coming at you with a Destiny 2 video about Outbreak Prime. Is it any good? Is it worth doing the story, the zeros and adventures and all of that stuff? Is it worth it? And I would argue so far, yes. In this video, I will show some gameplay from Crucible and PvE. So far, it is doing very well in PvP. It seems to have a pretty consistent 3-tap rate. It's not as strong for up close, so I would highly suggest pairing this weapon with something that is designed to be short to mid-range. A pinnacle weapon would be something like Recluse, maybe a shotgun, that kind of thing. Sidearms, if that's more your deal. Something that is really effective at short to mid-range. Use this gun like you would, almost like Bygones or Blast Furnace, really. If you try and go really up in it, unless you're solid with pulse rifles and you just absolutely love them, I would mostly suggest just hanging back a little bit, trying to get all those assists. You want to try and just really take effect with that range and grouping up. See there, those are all body shots and that still hit well. It can work pretty decently up close, but for me it's not consistent up close. Because up close to close has never really been my thing. As you can see from all the damages and everything, it does do a lot of damage. The main benefit so far has been the Sivaites. They seem to get a good number of kills or damage assists if you have a group. I wish I had my stream going earlier because I got a triple kill, and 2 of them were because of the Sivas. So that's been a fantastic thing to showcase. But oh well, for now just enjoy the video and then we'll get into the stats afterwards and PvE.
Zone B captured. You have zone advantage. Zone B lost.
By the way, I do not claim to be a PvP god or anything like that. I just enjoy playing it. See if I can't line up any good exhibitions with this thing.
That shut them down.
There's some damage from the Siva. Anyone was able to see it pop up on my reticle.
Zone B captured. You have zone advantage.
Overall, it does feel pretty strong. It feels kind of like Blast Furnace almost with how heavy it hits, but it feels like it's got the rate of fire akin to Bygones.
Fight for vengeance. Take their lead from them. Zone B lost. captured Zone A. 3 minutes. That's hard fought. The lead is yours. Zone A lost. They have the lead, but the match isn't over.
Getting a good string of bad luck in this match, but that's okay. If I'm able to get some better footage in the future of using Outbreak Perfected in PvP, I will make sure I put that up on my channel for YouTube and my Twitch, so everyone can kind of see a little bit better. This map's not the best for pulse rifles, there's not, for me at least. But hopefully this is kind of giving at least a little bit to you guys of how the Seavites and all that work with that kill with some Seavites. You can kind of see them still tracking after. But I think this did a pretty decent. It was a pretty decent match to try and show everything to you guys. And next I will just put it into Vanguard Strikes just to do a strike and show how it works against ads and PvE, and in between during that travel time I will show all the stats and kind of go over why I think they're pretty good. When you get to the PvE, the things I'm going to be most interested in is the ad clearing as well as what it does to the bosses.
"30 seconds.
By the way, I think this gun just looks really cool.
Zone B captured.
It's a little slimmer and slicker, darker version of the Destiny 1 Outbreak Prime.
Fight again.
Alright, there you go. There is a showcase of Outbreak and Crucible. My summary of it from using the last day or so, I guess no more than a day, is that it does feel pretty strong. It's got a great rate of fire if you like higher rate of fire things, which I do for pulse rifles. And it's also those Seavites or nano whatever, the Siva part of it, the main deal that makes Outbreak Prime or Perfected what it is, seems to do a lot of damage in PvP, as well as just the gun itself without having those perks. So on a real quick, just put it into the Vanguard Strike playlist. If anyone's interested, today, May 8th, is Iron and Heavyweight. I'll put us into here, and once this starts loading up, I will show the perks of this weapon and give you how you can get the catalyst for it as well, which is something I'm going to be trying to work on later today, and might be able to get a clip or a video up of the event. Alright, since we're loading into strikes, let's go over this gun's perks. Okay, here we go. Let's look at this here real quick. I also really like that top thing, directive. Kill while enemies equals present. I don't know, execute directive, I don't know, it just seems very robotic to me. But anyways, here we go, the perks. The corruption spreads. This weapon creates SIVA nanite swarms on rapid hits and precision kills. You guys probably saw some of that in the Crucible. It'll be more obvious in PvE. This is going to probably be a little bit better for PvE than I would guess in PvP. So basically, you hit something a bunch of times really quick, and or you kill it with a headshot. It'll generate those SIVA nanite swarms that will attack either what you're shooting at or things nearby it, which is kind of nifty because it gives you extra damage. It's almost like a primary Gallahorn. Extended barrel. Weighty barrel extension, increased range, decreased handling speed, and moderately controls recoil. So basically this gun's got more range and it's not quite as I guess bouncy is one way to think of it as some other pulse rifles. I see it's rounds per minute, it's 450 down here in the bottom right, so that's got to be pretty similar to Bygones. You got accurized rounds to give you range, outlaw, precision kills, increase the reload, and this is new from D1. Parasitism. This weapon does more damage to enemies based on the number of SIVA nanites that attach to them. So basically, the more of those nanites you generate and attack something, the more damage you will do. Then you got a catalyst, which once you get this gun, you can do the heroic 0 hour. To my knowledge, it's pretty similar as the normal one, but I have not tried it yet, so don't hold me to that. It's just kind of my guess based off of Whisper of the Worm. And you can buy an ornament. I personally don't like gonna have to do things like microtransactions to get some pretty cool stuff for guns, so I can't imagine I will buy silver to get that package just because I love Thorn. And I did not buy it for Thorn, so I can't imagine why I'd buy it for Outbreak Perfected. But you will see. So here we go. I want to see how this thing does against ads when you're clearing ads, as well as bosses. Keep in mind, I guess, for myself and for you, I am 700 doing this, and so doing a normal strike, the enemies will be significantly lower power than me. So it's not like they're going to be really testing me a whole lot unless I go running in by myself or something like that. But I think it'll be a good overall feel of how this gun will work for harder things, whether it be raids or whatever. Nightfalls at handicap for 100k, whatever. I think this is a pretty good random playlist strike I got put into. It says a good amount of ads, a good chunk of bosses more than just at the end. This should be a pretty good insight as to how this weapon does for PvE related things. But look at that, I already got a good chunk of clears, or kills, from that couple of bursts where they were falling out of that ship. Or skiff, I guess is the actual name of it. Sounds like someone else in the fire team is using Outbreak as well, so maybe we'll get to see how well this thing stacks when you have more than one person using it. So far, I feel like this gun melts and tears through bosses and larger ads and just ads in general really quick with that shank, the heavy shank. And there's two of us shooting at it, but it's lost life pretty quickly. Got all those SIVA swarms in the air. See if I can. There we go. Alright, here's some showing with yellow bars. If I get a chance to do a raid, I will use Outbreak Perfected and see if that feels like it's more effective than other primaries I've used. Kind of wondered if this is almost like solar properties with it, because it did seem to drop that shield real fast. Granted, it is a red bar enemy, and we do have teammates, so it's pretty hard to say if that shield destruction was all from me and the Outbreak, or if it was a combined thing.
We understand. But we agreed to this mission. No one's backing down. Commander?
It also holds
there?
a good chunk of ammo.
Don't come any closer. I swear.
It seems like a pretty petty thing to mention, but if you run out of ammo, then all the time, then what's the point of using a gun, you know?
Taliban, do you copy? Taliban, do you copy?
For example, I have one of the Gambit Prime hand cannons, and one of the perks it has on it, I think, is called Sustenance. I think that's the name of it. I know what it does, though. What it does is it doesn't carry as much ammo, but when you get a kill, it recycles ammo directly into your magazine. And if I recall, I was only able to carry 31 rounds with it. And then I got the curated spare rations, and I could carry the regular 110 or so.
All channels. This is a search and rescue.
So
team.
ammo does
Is anyone
matter,
listening?
I'm not sure.
Anyone?
Able to always have things like primary ammo finder on, so stuff just drops for you constantly.
Wait, hold on. This is a cap on some kind of summoning spell. The whole thing is being powered by
My
void
wife
light.
knows the lore and the story of all these things, and this particular strike
No wonder they don't want
has some
company.
pretty dark stuff to it. The more obvious things are basically a fire team invaded, failed, except for one person who was alive. Two people were alive, I guess, at the beginning, and you heard one of them get their light extracted. And then all of these void crystals are, according to her, what she's told me, are guardians that had the light extracted from them. So you're basically blowing up the souls or whatever of 6 guardians per time you do this. I think there's a total of 12. And basically you get to the end and you have no other option to summon the boss lady or whatever to be out of here and recover back the light. And so the person you can't, Keiko 3 sacrifices herself,
Are there
is
others
the
with-
general gist from what
No,
I have
just
picked
us
up.
down
However,
here.
my wife is way more into it. And if I find I am wrong, I'll be sure to add an edit or comment in the comment section of this. This is just based off of pure recollection and wanting this to not be super boring just watching the gameplay. Look how that swarm is going in after that ogre. So as you can see, it's still got pretty good range for PvE. Probably can't use it quite as far as a blast furnace, just because it is a higher rate of fire, I believe, and I can double check. I'm fairly certain I have my blast furnace I love
We came
on
down
this
here as
character,
a
and I
squad
can
of
compare
9.
them.
Got picked off one by one. Watched
Let's
a
find out
wizard
here
rip
real
the
quick.
light out of my best friend and funnel it into some kind of crystal.
They're
There it is, talking about the light
guardians.
funneling it into some kind of
These are
crystal.
all guardians.
Okay, so blast furnace. That's a really popular pulse rifle. How does that compare in general? Granted, keep in mind I do have a masterwork stability, or a range masterwork, excuse me. So we can't quite count in all the range. So it's got significantly more range, and so without the masterwork, probably a moderate more range. It does have higher impact, with less handling and less reload speed. And it is the same rounds per minute as the Outbreak. So they're pretty similar. I think the biggest differences between the two, besides, random rolls, are going to be the fact that the exotic perk on this is you get to do more damage because of Sivas. And so I would assume the impact does not account for that extra damage boost that you get. But if it doesn't, then you have a much higher damage capability. However, you don't have the range, which is interesting considering it's the same rate of fire. I thought Blast Furnace was a little bit slower, but maybe it's that 450 because you get the 4-round burst. Let's just have some fun punching these things. didn't know this, you can punch and stun enemies if you got the void arc or the void charge dealio. If you're doing this on a hard difficulty, here's a little tip, by the way, in case this happens to be interesting for some people when they're doing their 100Ks. If you got a Titan, have the Titan run Sentinel, and they aren't the ones that pick up the void charge. And all they gotta do is use their super and just hold open the barrier and just walk right behind them with the charge until you plant it. Seems like an easy way to me to make this part a little easier if it is giving you any issues, because you never know if you're doing it at some insane handicap because you're going for a record, or maybe you're just a little newer to Destiny and so things are just a little different, and so you're not quite used to it yet. I want to go get that revive real quick.
Let's find Takeo.
I want to give a shout out to my clan, More Than Light. They joined me yesterday and we got this Outbreak Prime, and so far I've been really trying to help each other out with helping people get this gun done.
No, don't come down here.
Just thought I'd give them a thank you. I've been with them for
Takeo, listen.
about 6 months now or so,
Disrupt the ritual.
and they're all great people.
Yeah, great idea.
So if you run into
But there aren't
anyone
any
with
powered
more
crystals in
as
here.
their tag, they might be part of the clan I'm
Never
in.
mind. We're going with that plan.
And, there you go.
But you said
They'll,
there aren't
they'll
any
probably
crystals.
help you out if you
Not
ask
yet.
them for help. Let's see how it does against this wanted enemy up close. Does seem to do significantly more damage the more times you hit it with Sea Light. You might be asking, why are you using One-Eyed Mask in PvE? Well, first I just forgot to switch it. I forgot to switch it. But sometimes I do it on purpose because, especially for events like 0 Hour or something like that, where I know I'm more prone to taking lots of damage because I can get my health back much easier. Alright, here's that boss fight I'm curious about seeing. $12.55, $12.35, somewhere in there for crits hits at that range. It's a pretty decent range, not like it's super far away, but it's definitely past mid-range. I feel like it does a good amount of killing per magazine. Other than that, that's something else that can frustrate me. If I feel like I use magazines and magazines and I'm not of ammo, I'm not getting anywhere with killing something. So you can kind of see from me shooting at these knights, it does seem to stay pretty stable. Headshots aren't super hard, and the recoil, especially for pulse rifles, like you want to have something with stable recoil and consistent. If it kicks all over the place, it's just going to be hard to use, especially if you go to PvP. You guys can kind of see it's when they wreck all. They're kind of act like Gallahorn almost. Not in the sense of insane amounts of damage. No, this is not a rocket launcher. They basically shoot out 7 rockets. But as far as the primary expectation goes and how they wrap around and attack a target, just looks a lot like how Gallahorn looked. But maybe that's just me being nostalgic. See how they attacked multiple targets on that one, so I could see clearly. So this so far has been working very well in PvP. Alright, so we're getting close to the end. So here's my overall feelings about Outbreak Prime, or I keep saying Prime. Outbreak Perfected. It is totally worth that grind, especially because if you get a team, you do your research, the 0-hour mission is perhaps not quite as hard as one would think. If you would like a video about how to do it, or the maze, or whatever, I have a couple of those on my YouTube channel, so you're more than welcome to check those out if that's something that would help you out to earn Outbreak. I've got everything on there for it. But anyways, really like how it feels as far as it feels strong. The recoil is not bad at all. I like it quite a bit. And
Wherever you
it
are.
just is a strong pulse rifle. I love how the SIVA nanoites work. They work well in PvP. As you can kind of see, they did quite a lot in PvE against those ads and boss damage, and we kind of got to see how the exponential damage is a lot. So I really like this gun. I think it's totally worth for you guys to get. If you want any help with it, feel free to check out videos. I know Houndish has some. I've got some that are up. But here, real quick, so there is a catalyst for it. It's just like Whisper of the Worm, to my understanding, where you get 20% each week you do the heroic. And so you have to do, it'll take at least 5 weeks to get, and there is an ornament you can buy for it. Just real quick, this is the part, the parasitism, I'm not sure how you say it, but this perk is the one, I believe, what's different from the Destiny 1 version, where you get increased damage based off of the nanoites that hit it. Otherwise, I believe it was just the first 3. With the accurized rounds, extended barrel, and outlaw. But that's Outbreak Prime for all of you guys. I appreciate you watching. If you liked this video and would like to see more content like this, please give it a like. You're welcome to subscribe or not, up to you guys. I just appreciate that you took time to check this out. I'm Church of Caboose, and good happy hunting for this gun, everybody, and live your lives.